everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the latest episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. This week we are featuring an artist who is not coming from the United States. We are featuring an artist who is an absolute icon in France. This week we are featuring Claude François. Did Claude François brought the soul and disco to France? And what legacy did he leave behind after 45 years of his death? Well, we'll discuss this after some needle drops.
Quand elle tremble et dans ta voix, chantant parfois un peu sa voix. Alexandrie où l'amour danse au fond des bras. Ce soir j'ai de la fièvre et toi tu meurs de froid. Oui, je sais comme la vie est.
Claude François was born in 1939, and by 1956 he moved with his parents to the Côte d'Azur. At that time he already could play a huge variation of instruments. From 1956 to late 1960 he played the drums in jazz ensembles at the Côte d'Azur. In late 1960 he decided to leave for Paris to follow a professional musical career. By 1962 he had his first big hit, which was actually a cover version of the Everly Brothers songs Made to Love You, and he called it Bells, Bells, Bells. Please bear with me if I don't spell everything in this episode correct. My French is a long time ago. By 1964 he had his first appearance at the Olympic. And if you're not familiar with the Olympic is the place to be if you are a musician. The who of who, the best of the best, played at the Olympic. Ike and Tina Turner, The Temptations, James Brown, everybody played there. And his performance was actually recorded and later on released on record. Let's talk about the music of the 60s. If you have a soft spot for the ballads, like me, this time is very interesting, because many songs from Italian singers, from French singers, were made into English versions. A very famous example for this is Pino Di Naccio. In San Marino, he sang a song which would later become this woman's trademark song, You Don't Have to Say You Love Me by Dusty Springfield. And it was also covered famously by Elvis Presley and also became a huge hit for Elvis Presley. In 1967, Claude wrote a song after a breakup from Frank Sinatra, who was also a very famous singer back then. He wrote a song which was called For You. And with the help of Jacques Reveux and Gilles Thubon, he created the song Comme Habitude. Let's have a listen.
Et je te bouscule, tu te réveilles pas comme d'habitude. Sur toi, je remonte.
Does the melody sound familiar to you? Yes. By 1967-1968, Paul Anka saw TV appearances where Claude actually sang Comme Habitude, and he immediately had the idea for a song. In the original version of Comme Habitude, or the original version of My Way, however you want to call it, it's about a relationship where people grow apart. My Way is, of course, My Way. My Way was done and became famous in the version by Frank Sinatra, but also Elvis Presley made a very famous version out of it. By the beginning of the 70s, the recipe Claude created was still working. He managed the shift from the 60s to the 70s, very successful. And what you're about to see are some concert footage from 1972. This is the black and white footage, and there's also color footage which I couldn't make out when this was shot, to give you an impression how famous he was. In total, Claude gave over 1,200 concerts. He had over 300 TV appearances, and he sang over 500 chansons. Like I said, he managed the 70s very well. And when the disco got into full swing, well, Claude was well riding that train. In December 1977, he released this album. And when I got this record, I was already laughing, because at that time, if you wrote disco on the records, they would sell even more. You had polka, you had classic, just write disco on it and it would sell. So that was very funny. But anyway, this is a tremendously good 77 record. It's a great 70s record. So he had the songs Magnolias Forever and Alexandrine Alexandra, which were huge hits. In total, this album had over 25 versions. And what I forgot to tell you is that Claude made a very wise move. In 1967, he created his own label, which was called Flashe, and that means arrow. And you can see on the back, I put the record out. I love this label. So you can see that that's the arrow on that label. By 1977, he sold that very successful label, and at that time he wanted to go to America. He wanted to go globally. He had businesses running, he had personal issues, but he wanted to conquer the world. In March of 1978, just hours before he was going to be on a TV show where he also presented his just recorded song Alexandrine Alexandra, he took a bath. And during that bathing, he wanted to repair a lamp. And we all know that water and electricity are not such a good combination. And he died when he tried to repair the lamp while still being in the bathtub. What you're about to see are some snippets of the funeral from Claude. He only got 39 years old. There was speculation if it was a suicide. There's also a biopic out there which I can only recommend. But after the research I've done with Claude, I actually don't think it was a suicide. I don't think he was taking a bath and decided to end his life. What I do believe is, with the many, many things being in his head and what he had to do and all of that, there was a moment in time when the rational part of your brain stops working. And I think this is what happened. It's like you bake something in the oven and you totally forget that this is damn hot and you want to pull it out. And I think this happened to him. It's just my personal opinion. There was speculation, but this is just my personal opinion about it. Well, and this is in a very short version, the life of Claude François. Like I said, there's a biopic out there. He created some tremendously good music. To me, he's not the best singer on earth, but for him, it was not very important to write the most poetic lyrics out there and that you think about them and what could the meaning be. For him, the most important part was to entertain his audience, and that's what he did. So if you have a chance, go and get those tracks from him. I totally forgot that. He also, of course, covered a song on this one, which was very famous at that time, and that was And I Love You So, which fell down. Hold on for a minute. All right, here it is, And It Fell Down, by Don McLean, And I Love You So, which was also been covered by Elvis Presley, and it's beautiful. I mean, in French, everything sounds better, which is a beautiful version. So, first time we don't have an American artist on the show. I try to do that more often because there's so many great music out there. But I can only recommend them. So stay safe, stay healthy, listen to good music. I see you next time. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.